All right, here we go. I still bounce. We're 10 episodes into our healthcare conversations, and I still have to bounce while I wait for it to go live. I don't know why. It's just the way it goes. But welcome to the High River and District Healthcare Foundation social media channels. We are in episode 10 and our final episode of this series with our healthcare conversations. And so we are excited to have our executive director from the foundation with us today, Wendy Kennelly. And our other special guest, I was teasing before we went live, the ambassador to the ambassadors. Sounds like we just make up titles, but she has been one of our cattle and grain roundup ambassadors with part of our women's healthcare campaign and sits on our board of directors with the foundation. So friends, please welcome Roxy Wideman to join us today. Ladies, hello.
Hello.
How's your day?
It's good. It's good. Yours? I mean, you've got us on site.
It's the end of September and it's going to be close to 30 degrees. Like for me, there's no complaints happening.
Crazy.
No, it's been good. But we wanted to connect today and just kind of wrap up this year-long campaign that we've been highlighting on the foundation social media and sort of have some chit chat of some of that experience. But I wanted to start off with what I think is the most exciting portion of this. And I don't know if we say it off the beginning for those who are going to be joining us as we're live, or if we save it to the end, but maybe we'll say it twice, Wendy, whatever we want. But I was so excited to learn that this campaign has raised just over $59,000 for healthcare in our community. So that's pretty freaking amazing.
And Jody, I want to remind you, because you were sitting in Colossus with Kathy and I a year ago. Do you remember? And Rookie Wendy said, can we kind of create a dream list of, what we want to do with Cattle and Grain Roundup this year? And we came up with all of these great ideas that we've actualized. But we said, we've gotten the budget a goal, and that goal, Roxy, if you remember through board conversations, was about $30,000.
Exactly.
But what you don't know, Roxy, is when we were sitting and collaborating about what we were going to do with this campaign, we said to each other, our big goal is 50,000. And I was saying 30,000 as I was leaving the coffee shop, and Jody said to me, hey, big dream, 50,000, we're going to do it.
All right,
well,
ladies.
Look what happens.
Look what you guys did. I'm impressed.
Big, hairy goals. You got to throw them out there.
Hairy, audacious goals. Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm so when that number came across the computer the other day, I think I screamed out loud like a crazy. It's a good thing I worked from home alone because it was weird. But I was just really excited that came through, especially with a campaign that I think the three of us can agree is near and dear to our hearts because we are, but also because we have beautiful friends and family and are big advocates of women's health in our community. The fact that this campaign was that topic, I think was extra exciting. And I don't know about you, Roxy, but when you were asked to step in as an ambassador to that, like, what did that mean to you?
It was when I first got the phone call, it was, do you know a group of ladies that would do this and be, agriculture women? We talked intergenerational, and I said, well, I could phone my family.
Let's try there first. Yeah.
Let's start there. And amazingly enough, 3 generations worth of them all said, you bet, let's get involved in this. This is important. What can we do for the foundation? What can we do for our community? And it just rolled from there.
Yeah.
And it was fun. It was fun to get everybody together doing something other than work and having a real important purpose to why we were getting together.
Yeah. I think it was cool. And I don't know, Wendy, because you were, we always joke about Wendy's rookie year in her time, but she had said, she's like, do you think there's like a ranching family that would do this? Like that was sort of the dream in the back of her head the whole time. And it really came to fruition so beautifully. And I don't know if there would be a ranching family in our neck of the woods who wouldn't want to be a part of this. But I know that one that's been here for over 100 years felt really cool to be a part of. Wendy, we were honorary family members. Yeah.
It was it was almost like it was meant to be, Roxy. Like, I thought of you when we were talking about the concept, but I didn't know any of your family. I didn't know the intergenerational, tightness of these group of female ranchers. Like, it really was meant to be. And then when I got to spend the evening during the photo shoot out on some of their land, and these women, showed up ready for game. Like, they were ready. If we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. We're going to, be an expression of what female leadership and empowering female health in the community is what that should look like. So to get to know, your mom better, Roxy, and her sisters, to hear some of their stories while we were taking these pictures, it was really special. And again, it helped me connect to the power of healthcare being so far out, on land and at your home that is still far away from emergency care, for example. When you're out there, it resonates with you. You understand the power of emergency services. You understand the power of them knowing how to find you, and having a hospital close by so family could visit if you had an accident and you had to be, in High River for a couple of days. All of those things just sort of were rolling through my mind, and I went, okay, we're doing the right thing.
Well, we did take you out to the reaches. I mean, we took you to where I started my life, and we took pictures in front of a barn that's well over 100 years old, in a yard that's actively used for work. But it does give you a sense of, it's not that far, but it's actually a very long ways from health services if there's an accident, and if you're a young family needing to go back and forth, or a senior needing to go back and forth to High River because their partner's there. So yeah, and yes, we did kind of floor you with, we all showed up in work clothes, cleaned up, but we cleaned up good. And
Great. Yeah.
we cleaned up good, and it was a good start to the process. So we weren't sure if we were going to shell shock you completely, Wendy, but we didn't take you as far away as we could. I mean, the original site was a lot further away, and you'd have been more than overwhelmed, I think. So
and beautiful. Yeah, it was beautiful countryside. And before we talk more about healthcare, I just also want to highlight that I think the community really was honored to celebrate your family, Roxy. And so when they saw your photos, $59,000 was also raised by people who care about your family. And so we saw new donations come in to say, because one of the things we did was make a donation and let us know a woman in your life that you care about, that you want to honor. And so we received lots of these really lovely messages about, I'm going to make a donation for $100 and I want to, say thank you to my mom or my sister. But many of those had attachments to your family after they saw the images of you gals. And so I think it was also nice that we got to celebrate a long-standing ranching family in the community that people really care about. That was icing on the cake, maybe, Roxy.
Oh, that's definitely icing on the cake for the ambassadors. I know of a couple of the donations that came in, and they were in memory of my grandmother and my great aunt, which was pretty meant a lot to the family. I mean, that was the icing on the cake for us. So
nice.
I'm glad that we're all very glad that we could be, of assistance.
Well, and I learned from a social media perspective, a lot of times we're looking for what engages people. And so it's like puppies and the ranching family. So that's what makes people stop scrolling.
There you go.
Kittens and the ranching
Puppies,
women.
kittens, and ranchers. Okay, I like that.
So now for every client I work with, I'm like, do you have a family that's been ranching for 100 years? Because people really like to watch what's happening with them. But no, I'm just
well, and
your puppies, Roxy.
Okay, I can work on puppies too,
Yeah, between you and Tilly, I don't know who gets more interaction on our social media. It's been really good. But I think what's really cool is we give a big thank you to all of the ambassadors that Roxy's sort of speaking on behalf of today. And it's been fun to sort of tell the story and sharing what healthcare has meant to all of you. And Roxy, what did it, after the initial sort of shell shock of and the photo shoot going through this past year, what has it meant to you to be an ambassador for the foundation?
Well, I got into it because, one, because I sit on the board, two, because women's health is important, three, because I live in the world of help isn't right next door, and it isn't right next door for whoever. But it meant the world to get involved, to be able to bring out those ladies of my family, especially my mother and her two sisters, who have put so much into the community, and finally and they did it all very quietly under the board per se. And suddenly their face was out there, and they were getting, people were recognizing them, and they were I heard people that I never expect to talk about women's health and say how important it was. So that was a real bonus. It was just a lot of fun to be able to promote both a very important issue and the foundation all at the same time, and do it in a fun way. There was nothing stoic or, involved in this at all. And one of the things that just really made it click for me was, because we had the 3 generations, we were hearing lots of the same things from 3 generations worth of people, and yet the exposure was happening differently. You had that young group of Whitney and Jesse, who are way more social media savvy and all those things, and they're that young group that's either starting a family or has a young family, and their issues were different than their grandmother and their great aunts, who their issues, they've been where Whitney and Jesse are, but their issues are different now. They're at a different stage. And in the middle, you had Joanne and Diana and I, who were in between those two. So you hit so many different groups of people for all the right reasons, and had fun doing it.
And the aunties, when you think about how they experienced probably childbirth during their time, and then what they're seeing their daughters and granddaughters experience in terms of the difference in healthcare, and by way of things like this campaign, Cattle and Grain Roundup, that's been around for a long time. Yeah, that must have been pretty nice for them to know that the girls are getting new and modern kind of support for, just even raising their families.
Absolutely. What Mom and Auntie Ethel and Auntie Lenny experienced when they had kids, and most of us were born in the High River Hospital, the old High River Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
New ones born in the new High River Hospital. So there's all that connection, and how healthcare and neonatal and gynecology, all those things have changed and improved. But the standard of the community itself and how the community deals with healthcare has stayed the same. People are important. We have to have it in our place, and to keep good health services, we have to support it. And that was even in place when my grandmother was a young girl, and my great grandmother was here before there was a hospital. Healthcare was important.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think that's what my favorite serendipitous sort of intertwining of this campaign was for me, is that when you look back to community 100 years ago plus, it, like your family, Roxy, and the other families who were the homesteaders of this area, you came in and you made it happen. You didn't wait for the government to do it. You didn't wait for somebody to come along. You just got together and you made it happen. And I think what's really cool is the foundation, although there's support through Alberta Health Services and all of those elements, at the end of the day, the foundation is community building community. And the two of them really mirror each other so beautifully, because we allow as community to come in and help us choose, how do you want healthcare to show up and look in your community, and how do you want to help do that? And everybody's like, okay, let's do this. Let's put our money together. That's the way the fundraising is. And let's build what we need next in our community. And that doesn't happen everywhere. I think it's pretty cool.
It is really cool.
I just had an executive of Alberta Health Services tour the hospital yesterday. She's a chief financial officer at some level. And she came in and she said, people talk about you guys all the time. You do really good work. And the first thing I could say to her was, the community does that. We're just the middleman between, you know, our neighbors and what they want in healthcare, and making sure that that happens by way of AHS systems. So she said, yeah, but she said it's, you know, I thought it was really neat that was the first comment she made when she came into our office yesterday. So it was a nice compliment. And to our board, Roxy, and the leadership.
It is. It is a compliment. Absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah.
So we spent the last sort of year talking about women's healthcare concerns in the community. And I think it's like the tip of the iceberg in some of those conversations. And so I wanted to throw out to the two of you, just sort of, if you had thoughts or ideas, or if we wanted to have some discussion around how do we continue to keep that ball rolling without it always necessarily being the focus of a campaign. But now that we've learned more about how that feels and how important it is to our friends and family, how do we keep those conversations going? How do we continue to be an advocate for women's health in our community?
Right.
Wendy?
I
got some ideas, but I want to hear Wendy.
Yeah.
I'll kick it off. You may have missed some of the conversations we had, Roxy, because you were busy working, doing chores and stuff like that. But like a couple of them that stood out to me, Jody, were like, for example, we did a 45-minute Facebook Live on youth services, Roxy, and how does that support young women if they need to talk to a doctor or a psychologist or a counselor, and maybe are navigating life a little more independently than the average kid. And so we learned about child and youth navigators. Jody, that was new to me. I never heard of it before. So that was a chat that really stood out to me. The other one that stood out was heart health for women. And they can, you know, you hear the messages all around that heart issues can sneak up on a woman because the symptoms sort of seem regular. But there was some really, we showcased a video of a woman who was going through her day, Roxy, and she was, you know, oh, I'm feeling kind of hot, or I'm feeling kind of sweaty today, and that's not normal, but I'm going to take the kids to soccer, and I'm going to prep a meal, and I'm going to go do chores, and I'm going to go to work. And she was going through her day, ignoring all of these things, and ended up having a massive heart attack. Who knows, Jody, we might have brought somebody to the clinic that day to say, wow, I caught Jody having this chat about this, and I've had this symptom for far too long. I'm going to address it. And that one stood out to me, probably because of my age and because I'm sort of that woman who moves too fast and doesn't always pay attention or ignores some of the symptoms. And so those two really stuck out. And you're right, we just kind of did an intro to those things. So for me, as you know, a middle person between community and healthcare, I want to keep having those conversations with the board to talk about, you know, let's not forget these things. How do we inspire continued awareness and proactive awareness? Jody, you use those words quite often when you're working with us. How do we be proactive for these things? Roxy, we're going to keep a lot of people out of the hospital if we can keep some of those conversations going.
Absolutely.
I don't know that I have the answer to how we keep that conversation going, Jody. Maybe it's just connecting more with the amazing nurses and medical staff at the hospital, our counselors at our mental health unit. You know, I'm knocking on their door a lot saying, how do we support you? How do we support you? And I think we need to come up with some more ideas and help them actually facilitate. Like I said to Roxy, I wonder if there's some sort of rural mental health program for women. Maybe we can get behind something like that. if there's a need and there's a desire to learn more. So not sure I have all the answers, but you're right. I'd love to keep educating and inspiring women to listen to their bodies.
That's good.
You can't say what she said. You have to have an answer.
That's okay. I don't want to say what she said. She put it way too succinctly for me. I agree that the one if I didn't watch them live, I got them as quick as I could. Oh no, there we go. I'm back. One of the heart health was so important because we've grown up, Jody, you and I've grown up, we've seen all this is the signs of a heart attack.
Yeah.
And they're the standard. And we got to hear through you guys' program and everything that we did as far as women's heart health, that the signs aren't the same, as you said, Wendy, for women. And I have never seen that brought to the forefront before. And for it to come to the forefront within our community was really important. As you say, if we got one person to go to a clinic, or 6 months from now, somebody says, I've been dealing with this, and it twigs in their head, the conversation you folks had on social media and the promotion that the foundation did, and somebody else twigs and goes, wait a minute, I think you need to go see about this. That's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
Another one for me that you guys did, which I thought about it, but it never really hit too much home, was the caring for caregivers.
Mm.
And part of the reason I think that doesn't come to the forefront too much is because everybody respects people who are the caregiver. And they think, boy, they're wonderful people and they've got to be strong to do those things. Well, most caregivers, one or women, and they don't have to be in a professional mode. It can be moms taking care of kids, or grandparents taking care of, or grandkids taking care of grandparents, or our professionals. And none of us, I don't say none of us, but we don't realize, I think subconsciously we realize, but I don't think we realize as well as we should, how much we need to care for them. And that was important to me. What the other one to me, and how do we move this forward? One of the things that, as far as I'm concerned, is you don't let this set of ambassadors retire.
Right. Oh,
I'm like, you heard it here.
No. You don't let this set of ambassadors, and you don't let this program just go by the wayside after a year. You find a way to keep it active somehow.
I love that.
And I think you can do it, especially by drawing in. I go back to the two young ladies, to Whitney and Jessie, because it's a whole new group of women. It's a young group of women who are active on social media. They're active in the community. They're business owners. Not to say that my generation and the sisters the three sisters generation aren't important, but that's the thing with women's health. You brought it to the forefront. We can't let it just disappear. And if you can use your ambassadors and your programs to do it, and you can keep Jody once in a blue moon putting on a program about women's health, maybe that's how we keep this rolling.
Maybe it's as simple as that, right? Just once or twice a year. Yeah.
I think we don't always realize the ripple effect of impact. So it can be as simple as a conversation that you're repeating, like, when the ones that stood out for you, I'm sure you had conversation with people in your life about, man, I watched this video today about blah, 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 or you shared onto your social media. The eyes that see that are meant to see it. And what happens in the ripple effect of that, we will never know what that impact really looks like, but we know that we can be the advocates of those continued conversation. And I think that I mean, I probably get really biased because I'm a super huge, like, women rule the world kind of advocate. But I know that the more that we educate each other, the more that that ripple affects into the rest. And I don't mean to gender stereotype roles in this conversation, but I think one of the other really big conversations I would love to see the foundation talking about is men's mental health. And that one is such a hard one to break through stigmas and shames and have those conversations. But even if we're educating the women on mental health, they're going to see those triggers or those activations or those elements and signs that are coming through with the men in their life with a more alerted sort of eye, I guess. And that
Right.
helps that, and how we just keep talking about it, because those are things that really matter in our community. And it's, it's easy to rally women. It's challenging to rally the dudes. And so I would love us and everybody watching to brainstorm, like, how can we rally the guys and make them feel like that's normal and that's helpful? And what does men's healthcare look like?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. One other thing I wanted to say out loud too is another great success of the campaign has been that we had conversation with local people. So Roxy, when we were doing women's heart health, Verna Lehman, who also is a board director, who experienced a near-death experience with a heart emergency, she opened herself up to have that conversation with our community. And I think it just hits us, it just gets closer to home because it's someone we know, it's a familiar face, it's someone local. And we had many of those conversations. We tried to keep it as local as we possibly could. And thanks to you and Kathy for finding those specialists or finding those people who were willing to talk about cancer treatment and the Yoga Thrive program and heart health. And but when it's somebody we know, maybe it helps us be a little more comfortable to talk a little more openly about things we're afraid of when it comes to our health.
I think it makes it real.
Yeah.
In essence, it does. We can talk about all sorts of issues, but when and this is again, it goes back to this unique, well, I don't know how unique we are, but I think we're a unique community. When we see it and we hear it from a local person on an issue that's a big issue, but it hits home more. And when they're willing to open up completely as she did, it helps bring the point home. It's kind of like in reverse of what we see with a lot of problems that we deal with in society, where not in my backyard. Like, if it's over there, it doesn't matter. Not in my backyard. Health is, and with this community and the foundation, is the opposite way around. It's in my backyard. So I need to do something about it. I'm going to care more. Even if it doesn't affect me, I'm going to support something to do it. So it is the complete reverse. Instead of it, push it away so it's not in your backyard. You don't have to look at it. You don't have to think about it. We brought it, you guys brought it the other way around and put it right in our backyard, actually on our front step. And the community went, yes, this matters. Here's our support, because it is my family, my community, my friends, my front yard, not just my backyard.
Well said.
Heck, we were right on your sofa.
Heck!
I was going to say the power of like fire pits and coffee cups. Think of all the things, like whether you're sitting at a fire or you're having a coffee with somebody, the amount that you can cover in that. So I don't know if it's the next campaign is fire pits and coffee cups, but I'm on board. I'm on board to have chats by the fire. And I think it's just having more conversation. We've learned that with everything in life, that it comes down to you're an advocate without a title, just by communicating, just by sharing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's been so good. I just wanted to share this. Kathy put a post here for you, Roxy, that says, it's been an absolute privilege to work with you and your family over the past year. It has been fun and impactful in so many ways. So I just wanted to share it with you.
Oh, thank you, Kathy.
Thanks, Kath.
Actually, I have to admit, I got to give credit to Kathy. She pushed the right buttons and I mean, we've known each other for just about forever.
Yeah.
I think she knew how to ask the question to make sure that we got this done.
Yeah.
She always does.
It's been well, and I think it's been fun for me on a totally personal note, because I grew up in the same community as Roxy, and I've known Roxy since I came out, and I've been
Yes.
an honorary member of their family since I was a little
Aw.
girl, and just even being on the outskirts but welcomed in has been really cool. So it's just been so neat to be able to share this family's stories. From it just reminded me so much of, like, I think I've been, as a girl, we were at every branding and every different thing, and, you know, Christmas at Lenny's and all of these different things has always been so special. So to share this family's story, along with being able to be a passionate advocate behind the scenes for the foundation, has just been so heartwarming. Like, I don't work a day for the foundation, because I just get to share all the things that I'm passionate about. And it's been so awesome to work with your family and the foundation for all of this. And I don't know, I can speak for Wendy when I say, like, we are just getting started, friends. So
yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot.
And another shout out to Davina Berger.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
ambassador. Yeah.
She took all the photos for our ambassadors, because she's an incredible photographer. So let's give her, follow her, Davina Berger Photography, on her social media. And so she's not directly in that family, but as community is. And she shared a lot with her story through the process too, of all 3 of her kids were born within our community, and sharing that. And I don't know how, it's like she set up a tripod to take pictures of her and her kids. They were just as beautiful. Like, she's amazing.
Adorable.
She's amazing. All right.
Yeah.
She is. And she comes from a you know, a strong farming family connection too. I mean, so she had that insight as well, which made it easier, I'm sure, for her to get a bunch of stoic, especially the 3 oldest members of our family, stoic members, to actually smile when she took her pictures.
She's like, what? Yeah.
We told her right off the bat that day, if she could manage to get a picture of the 3 sisters where one of them wasn't making a grimacing and they were actually all smiling, that she'd won the lottery.
Yeah.
Then they're beautiful pictures.
So
and she got beautiful pictures.
Yeah.
It's been
and
so good.
Jody, sorry, I keep interrupting you,
No,
but
please
I
do.
also want to say a very, very, very generous thank you to everyone who made a donation to Cattle and Grain Roundup. The people who created this very unique and special annual campaign for healthcare in the area. Decades ago, the idea was the impetus of community members who just wanted to get rural community behind healthcare, and it's continued now through generations. It's so special, but everyone who it's not been easy over the past few years economically for people in our community, with droughts and costs of feed and all of those things, and they still continue to give. We take that very seriously. We're going to make the very best of these $59,000+, and we will ensure that it is there to take care of the ladies in your life. And we don't take that for granted. It's very special, and we're so thankful to each and every one of them that made a donation this year, and will continue every year, no matter what we get behind from year to year.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts from you, Roxy?
No. Well, yeah, sure. There is. Sure, I do.
Sure you do. I know you do. Yeah.
Well, my point would be, following Wendy's comment, was the Cattle and Grain Roundup isn't going away. And though we've moved the direction of it for the coming year, where funds would go, I mean, I hope everybody can be as generous as they can be. I don't say there's no push. The cattle and grain supporters aren't going away. The foundation has always found a good cause for their dollars. That's not going to change. So I hope to see just as good a turnout in the years coming as there was in the past. And I can say, Wendy, that yes, this is a very ongoing deal. The Chinook Country Cattlemen were right at the forefront of starting this cattle and grain roundup, and I'm happy to say this old family was involved then too. and they saw the purpose of it then. We see the purpose of it going forward, and hopefully we have a great coming year with our cattle and grain roundup. And like I say, I know your ambassadors aren't going away, even though they're sliding into the background for this coming year, but what we can do, we'll do.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Thursday, you'll be getting tattoos, Ambassador for Life.
It's very good.
Special surprise
Wonderful.
everyone for Thursday. So wear short sleeves. No, I'm just kidding.
I was going to say fluorescent colors.
We're going to stay with the green and blue of the brand, but yeah. It's all good. And I feel like I want to make Kathy really happy here in promoting. If you would like to learn more, maybe you're catching this video and you hadn't heard of the foundation before, you can check out our website at highriverhealthfoundation.ca. We are currently preparing for our annual dinner and auction, which is pretty much the funnest night out. So there may still be a couple of tickets laying about, but we are headed towards a sellout. If you would like to come and join us and learn about the foundation, just have fun. We are going to be together again on October 22nd and really looking forward to having some fun. And if that doesn't work for you, while you're there, there's a chance for you to win up to 10 grand. I feel like that's important to say also. Our 50-50 cash raffle is on now. Tickets are available through this website, and you could win up to $10,000 if we sell that out. And then, of course, the funds going back in to support the incredible rural healthcare that's needed here in the foothills. So. Did I just make Kathy happy, Wendy? Hey?
I think you made her very happy. And just so you know, I think there's less than 20 tickets left for dinner and auction. So if you're thinking of doing it, call the office at 403-652-0129. Oh, look at you.
Look at you.
Bam.
It's the executive director and a board member. Like, stuff's got to shine today, friends.
We got to shine. And
I want to keep telling stories for the next year too. No, I'm just teasing.
You always make us look so sparkly, Jody. Thank you. Thanks for all you do for our campaign. You do.
Ladies, thank you for sharing with us today, helping us to continue those stories. And Roxy, please pass along. I know we're going to see some of the other ambassadors later this week, but just wanted to just pass along more thank you to your family for being a part of all that looks like, and businesses in the community shared a lot of the posts. And that's really how we continue as well when we talk about how do we keep those conversations going, is when you share a post of the foundations or like or comment on it and allow it to be seen by more people, you're helping us get that message out there in a pretty easy way. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I'd like to say thank you to Wendy and the rest of the board, and you, Jody, for allowing our family to be helpful.
Yeah. Oh, you are. You feed us, but now you also
well,
talk.
We do that too.
All right. Anything else, Wendy?
Let's go have a great week.
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds
One
good.
more time, just in case you caught it halfway through, I want to say again, because I'm so freaking excited. $59,000 was raised with our cattle and grain roundup this year. So thank you for supporting.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
See you soon.